Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second round of the ESLOL first here on Rift Entertainment. As we headed to the second matchup of this round 2, I will of course not be casting alone. I will have by my side none other than the one, the only, the wonderful Fresh Tana. Welcome back, Fresh Tana. How are you?
I'm fine. I guess, I mean, we casted yesterday 4 games mostly alone, so maybe my voice still is a little bit cracked and stuff, but I'm fine. I'm not tired at least.
That's a good plus, and today I'm here to alleviate you of your voice struggles if you have any, because I can be doing the shouting if you want. That's fine for me. But yeah, so we're in round 2. We're headed to the second matchup thereof, and I think maybe do we have a bracket to show to our viewers so they can see a bit better where we're at, because I guess round 2 doesn't ring much of a bell on its own. But round 2 essentially means that we're in the middle column here. So we've had round 1 being played over the past few days. We've had PERTINAX, like, in my opinion, surprising us with 3-1ing Rift SLOTHS. Of course, they did not have Ardafla in their ranks at first. So they were thrown down to the lower bracket where they encountered Fulcre Esports, who lost 3-0 against Dynasty, who are going pretty strong now. In the semi-finals, previously we've had PERTINAX versus Dynasty. Dynasty going 3-2 and with that qualifying themselves for the finals already, and PERTINAX falling here in round 2 of the lower bracket, where they will be playing against Rift SLOTHS. So it's a bit of a return match. It's the redemption match for Rift SLOTHS here against PERTINAX Esports. And I think the stakes are high, and the Rift SLOTHS must definitely have an honor to defend here, because they took their first loss versus PERTINAX on that day, and I think they'll be vengeful today.
Yeah, definitely. And no, they are back in this with Ardafla. He had a wonderful performance yesterday. I think even a pentakill in the last game or something. So he definitely was like gigantus. And PERTINAX got the first little hit against Dynasty last, I think, Tuesday. So they have just an open bill with Dynasty, so they definitely want to get back into the finals. So that's definitely a banger matchup today. And for PERTINAX, I mean, it would be such a wonderful story if they win today. First and foremost, because they stomped Rift then twice in a row. And of course, because the PERTINAX, without ever reaching playoffs, could still end up in Division 1, which would be maybe the best famous story of all time. I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of insane of them, especially since they didn't even get to playoffs in the summer split. They came in because they were there in spring split where they had a good performance, and they still did well enough in summer split. That's why they're here. So for them to get that shot and go to Div 1 would definitely be completely insane. And I think their ranks were bolstered, if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't been in depth with the past few days, but they've got Merlin back. What was it? So, I mean, yeah, you were always a big fan of Merlin, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a mage, man. He's a mage.
So, I mean, that definitely plays into the hands. We'll have to see. Now, we've had a matchup between two teams, with PERTINAX. Rifts has seen PERTINAX, how they've improved between the split and now. So they are able to adapt. They've got Ardafla back in their ranks as well, which of course can make a huge difference. I mean, he does play the AD carry role, and he is really, really strong at it. A key player for the Rift SLOTHS, I believe, also one of their main shout callers. So things are going to be different, that's for sure, tonight, but nothing is off the table. PERTINAX has been surprising us. I think getting 2 wins against Dynasty also is pretty strong, because Dynasty already at the playoffs of the summer split were going really strong compared to over the split. So they've got something to tell, that's for sure. And we'll see which of those two animals between the Ram and the Sloth is going to come out as a winner here.
Yeah, and normally it should be the Ram, because the Sloth usually is not a good fighter, but who knows?
But have you seen a Ram climb up a tree?
No, it's pretty much impossible, I guess. But the ram could knock over the tree, and then the sloth would just fall down and pretty much get hurt, I guess. So, but yeah, I think that PERTINAX actually should go into that as a clear favorite, just because the 3-1 from last time. But Rift has definitely a confident boost, just because they came back really strong against full clear. Struggled in the first game, but after that got back. So I hope for the best.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Now I have, because I went to the Museum of Natural Sciences in Brussels, and there they had a sloth exposed, and I was like, hell yeah, they've got a sloth. So that was already a big plus. But not only that, but they had a screen where it would like tell you some fun fact about sloths, and that's a really interesting one. So actually, sloths they live on trees, as most of you should know. And they only get down from the tree because it's super dangerous for a sloth to get down of their tree. They only get down of their tree usually to do their business, to take a dump. Okay, and at that moment there's a bunch of insects that will be entering its fur and making their nest there, and the fact that they live there creates a small ecosystem within the sloth's fur. Okay, and at some point there's going to be moss that actually grows on the sloth's fur, which is already crazy in my opinion, but that's actually one of its strongest survival tools because it makes the sloth, well, undistinguishable within a tree because moss is the same color as the tree. And I thought that was a really interesting fact about sloths and a huge weapon they've got. So one thing that you should know is that expect the unexpected because you won't see the sloth coming, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Good times.
True story with the museum. I never been there, but I never been in Brussels as well. So never been in Belgium actually.
Not in Belgium at all?
I was once or twice in Netherlands, but not in Belgium actually.
Not in Belgium. So you haven't had the pleasure of tasting the best fries in the world?
No.
Oh,
sadly not. Or not the best chocolate and stuff. And
yeah.
It's sad.
A lot to catch up on. Don't know if you're a beer fan, but that's also a thing here. I don't know if you knew. Like the Belgians, they have something going on that level as well. Things to not miss out, in my opinion. Especially the fries. Like you could go anywhere. We were once out and someone was hungry, and we were like, "Oh, let's get fries." And we found the most random. It wasn't actually like a Belgian place. It was just a Greek place that did Greek snacks, and they had like super good fries. They just find good fries everywhere. But anyways, we are in, ladies and gentlemen, game 1 of tonight. PERTINAX Esports versus Rift Sloths on the blue side, while PERTINAX is on red. And here we have a few first bans coming in already.
Yeah, it's not 2 and 2. It's actually 0 and 0. Just if someone wants to change that, anyway. Yeah, we had plenty of like in the last series at least. We had those Aatrox bans against JJS. We had those Kha'Zix bans against Makla. But at the moment, especially Merlin got hit. I think Akali was almost banned in 3 out of 4 games actually against PERTINAX, and then in the 4th and final game, Merlin played the Akali, so it makes sense that they ban it away. As same goes with the Kha'Zix. He was banned in every single game except the last one, and then Makula played it, and then they won. So that's the reason why they target him. And then, of course, Kindred makes sense against Shredded. Mukans Nico also got banned, I guess, in 4 out of 4 games. And usually on red side, PERTINAX banned the Jarvan as well. But this time it's a Zeri. Yeah. So we might see Jarvan first pick. No, it's Ahri.
It's Ahri. I guess the Zeri does make sense with the Ardafla threat coming in. I mean, he is a huge Zeri player. But the Ahri, have we seen Ahri in the past few days?
I mean, she's strong, but it's quite interesting that they don't go for the Jarvan, because now Makala could also go for Jarvan, and of course Mr. Hub goes for his Sire, who was banned, by the way, in the last 2 games, and in the first 2 ones he picked it, so it's just a big comfort for PERTINAX, and that's the reason why Rift usually banned the Sire in the last 2 games, but they didn't, and now with Jarvan open, Makla of course goes for Jarvan. And now the question is, which ADC do you want to play against the Sire? Some people prefer the Kaiser, for example, just to poke her out. And here we already see a slight inaccuracy, in my opinion, to draft hard engage against Sire, just because she likes that. If you get into her with the Nocturne, you're already locked into those hard. We just jump into them team comps. But at least they dropped the Tsingzao, because Shredded played 4 games of Tsingzao, and of course they lost the series, so they got back to other champions. And Varus on the other side is poke against Sire, but also the ultimate is easy to dodge with Sire ult, with cleanse, so it's, in my opinion, maybe Kaiser plus Maokai or something would have been great picks, but why not just go for Nocturne and Varus? It's fine.
Here decide for PERTINAX, we round off that bot lane with Rakan, which is, I mean, always fits well with the Xayah. Can also follow up really well on the Jarvan engage and so on. So overall one stuff really nice.
Cool. And Nocturne, of course, Nautilus of course gets banned out for Crimson. I think he played it 3 times in the SLOTHS PERTINAX Champs series, so they just ban it out, which definitely makes sense against him. And then I think in the last game he played the Galio, so he showed something new. And yeah, so Orianna gets banned out. Merlin, of course, big Orianna fan, big. But he has plenty of other champions as well. He might go for Syndra, for example, or for something else. Maybe Lissandra against Ahri, maybe Vex. I mean, Merlin has plenty of champions in his repertoire, so why not? Of course, Lex loses Quinn, which is a good blind pick for him, a good pick in general. And we might see an Aatrox ban or just Syndra, like I said, just the mid lane pool being knocked out here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely being wary of Merlin. He is a big player, has made his proof more than once over the course of the splits we've had. So definitely taking that into account. And now we have last few picks coming in. PERTINAX opening up here, as they will also have last pick. And it seems like they're going for the LeBlanc on Merlin against Rakan's Ahri.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You want to not blind pick something really unmobile against Ahri, because then you just get run down, and also against Nocturne, just some safety with a mobile champion is usually a good decision. And yeah, so I like the LeBlanc, and LeBlanc Jarvan super strong in the 2v2, so could be
definitely a huge threat already pretty early. On the bot lane, we round up with a Pyke for Grizzon. Now, I think we can all agree that Grizzon is a hook appreciator. But Pyke, I feel like, is a bit more outside of his usual repertoire.
Yeah, it's a crazy pick. But they just looked for an answer for Sire Rakan, so why not Pyke? Can definitely work. No blind pick Camille. Of course, no tank for Lex. That would be a shame. Really strange. So, and there's Zed on the top lane now, which is an interesting draft from both sides. We see a Zed, we see a Pyke. We have definitely an interesting game here.
Yeah, most definitely. I really think for the Rift Sloths, at least I haven't casted the past few match days, but from what I know for them over the split, this is very unorthodox. This is very new. This is very different than what they usually have. This is also incredibly explosive. I mean, at that point, you have a lot of go buttons coming in for the Rift Sloths. And as you said, PERTINAX, they do have the Xayah that, well, if she's engaged, she's fine. And Rakan also has some pretty good answers to that kind of stuff. But for the rest, I mean, not too, let's say, responsive.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the top lane matchup for me is interesting because normally Zed does not really he likes tanks and not really those cruisers. It should be a really flip heavy matchup because both sides can definitely win it. And it's definitely a really interesting tool in the toolkit. But just from a Syracuse standpoint, Camille is usually really good into sets, so it could be an interesting one to see. Both have plenty of true damage, of course, and both can snowball in such a lane. So let's see who will win it.
Yes, we will see how that goes as we're headed into the first game of tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Rift Sloths on the blue side going up against PERTINAX in these, well, actually lower bracket finals, kind of, because this match up will determine who goes against Dynasty in the finals of this Division 1 tournament for ESLOL.
Yeah. And we have double Hell of Pride bot lane, by the way. Adafla and Prison who both have Hell of Blades, which means that they will definitely want to play really aggressively on level 1, maybe really aggressively on level 2, just to get some more auto attacks out. And kinda try to play versus Sayara Khan, who are usually really strong in level 1 and level 2 as well. So we might see first blood there, actually, just by the pure strength. And of course, there's a little cheese in the brush. So I would assume that we will see a lot of attention bot lane, a lot of trading, a lot of kills. Because Pyke usually makes those lanes really, really aggressive.
Yeah, and they've already set up in a very, very aggressive position here in the river brush. I think PERTINAX bot lane better go through the tri-bush, that's for sure. And they're also going to be giving a leash to their jungler. Meanwhile, Rift Sloths bot lane is going to take that and already build some pressure here.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see Wukan now on Ari. We saw plenty of Silas games lately by him. So it's something new, something fresh. And if Rishi can maybe give me at least the in-game sounds, would be crazy good.
Yes, I can agree to that as well. So yeah, we can already see PERTINAX's bot lane has to be a bit careful. Here we have the hook coming in from Grizz, it does land, and some damage already falling on Leolas. Yep.
Yeah, they play for level 2. And they got it, and usually Sayara Arcanists are the people who can go for level 2 in most lanes. But this time they couldn't. JJS with a really interesting thing, like I said, Zed is an interesting one, and helps in this team comp definitely, because he can peel for one of his carries. He can just ult someone away, especially with all of those backline diving champions. You have some
we
trading
have
here.
a small... Oh yeah, we flash behind Markland with that Shredded picks up first blood against the enemy jungler.
Yeah, well played by Shredded, finding Makla on his Jarvan and just invading him, which worked out in the end for Shredded. And like I said, you have Nocturne, you have Ahri, you have Camille, all of them, even Pyke will backline dive. And so with Zed, you can always just throw them or ult them away from your carries. or even just stun them. So it's a really good pick in that regard, that you can just play him fairly defensive.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see already also in the mid lane, Bakan sending a lot of pressure, but we have Makala just around the corner. He's going to get that scuttle.
No, trading is huge. But nobody yet to die.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, for now, JJS seems to be doing pretty well in this top lane matchup. Seems to be comfortable in it, at least.
And I find it really interesting that we see the static LeBlanc, by the way. It will be the static LeBlanc. And there could be a top lane now.
Yeah. Quick flash from JJS is going to defuse that situation. But that's good. I mean, free flash. With only a Q from Shred, he's right back in with the Q that's gonna land. The stun from Legs also, the damage is falling. We have the Fear coming in as well. Nice W here, and nice pull into the turret. Gets shredded really low. Gets low himself, but at least he survives.
Yeah, well played by him. First they wanted to just get his flash out and just repeat gank it. But in the end they couldn't get the kill. Lex could have tried something with his own flash, but I mean in the end it's just risky. Both were really low, so they just stopped the tower dive. And we see a little freeze in the bot lane by Leolas. Well played to get his ADC or the CS. So Mr. Hub is fairly fine in CS now. Good ward there by Merlin just to spot Nocturne at the second clear. With that information, Makala can even steal the Crux now, so he gets something back in the end. But no, maybe he gets spotted now on the ward.
Yep, he does. The stun also lands, and the damage is there from this bot lane. Huge damage coming in really fast, and with that they pick up a first kill for Ardaflies. Things are starting to look really good there. JJS having a rough time in 1v1 level 6 from Lax is going to be able to get the kill. Maybe stun does not land, flashes behind him to get the auto tank. That's a kill for the top lane of the Rift Sloths.
Yeah, that's the solo bowl on the top lane. In a matchup which JJS chooses, by the way. I mean, he took a counter pick, or quote unquote counter pick with Zed into Camel, and now he got punished in a 1v1. Of course, he had no flash because of the gank, but I don't think that Lex needed this flash to kill him in the end. It was just for safety measures, but the 1v1 damage was enough to kill JJS there. So what a play by the top laner of ESLOL.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, they're getting 3-0 ahead in terms of kill. They're starting to build up a 2k gold lead slowly but surely. We also see Grizzon already with the Moby boots, ready to get some action around the map here for sure.
That's true. Moby boots, really interesting choice here. But in the end, if we can get some value out of it with some successful roams, then why not? Normally, Varus isn't really an ADC who is really safe alone. I mean, he can usually just clear waves with his 2 spells and then be safe on the turret, but he is not really mobile, so the roams are pretty hard sometimes, because in some cases you can just kill Varus if the support leaves him alone.
Absolutely. And Grizzon is sure to come back very quick to the lane as well in order to make sure nothing does happen. But PERTINAX is also on edge. That's the thing. When you don't see the Pyke, it's kind of like Schrödinger's cat. Is Pyke here, or is he currently roaming? So you always have to be a bit careful, and PERTINAX does take that to heart. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there could be a gank starting.
Smuggler
But-
coming in.
I mean, Shredded is level 6 as well, so there could be the counter gank from either side, whoever finds the other side first.
And we have a stun coming in onto Markle as he gets pulled in, and now we have Shredded coming in. First kill falling for the Rift Sloths. Now it's Mr. Hub who has to be careful. Leolas drops the ultimate to protect him, but the damage is huge on the Xayah player. Flashes to the side, Shredded behind him, picks up the kill. Leolas, is he going to be able to get away? The hook lands Grizzon, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, 3 kills going to the Rift Sloths.
Yeah, just 6 and 0, and I wonder how they even lost the series on Monday, right? I mean, they just play phenomenal at the moment and pretty much outplay on every single lane at the moment. They just get solo bolos left and right, they just win those skirmishes, win those team fights, so it's hard to imagine that they just lost the series at the moment against PERTINAX because they just outplay them and are 3k ahead after 9 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point that last time Rift Sloths were like, okay, Ardafla's not here and so on. But this time they came in, they were like, alright, we're not playing tonight, we're winning. That's it. There's nothing in between. They're coming in like a fucking steamroll here. And they're just going to keep the pace going now. I mean, now they have a 3k gold lead. They have the first Drake. Herald is up. That's the next objective to look for. Grizzon is already around it. And they're just going to keep on going from here, I think. And PERTINAX now in a rough spot because they have to kind of stop Rift Sloths in their stride. And it's going to be hard because Shredded, he's got 2 kills. He's got 2 assists. He's got his mythic item and a 12 CS lead. On Makula, he is very far ahead. He's going to be able to put so much pressure on the map because that's what Nocturnes do. Ulti is back up soon. He's got the Paranoia coming in. He's going to be able to do place again. Here we have the little gang on the middle lane from Grizzon. Damage falling on to Merlin. And with that, oh, nice flash to dodge the ulti from Grizzon. Step from below.
Well played there to just get if good flash out. Oh, there could be the solo bolo on top lane, maybe.
Yep. Lag screened a bit too much here to get that plating, and with that, JJS is going to pick up the kill and punish him for that. Well played from the set player.
Yeah, and he just even...
Nice hook from Grizzon. Look at that, and the damage. Look at the damage. Sorry.
No, that was a clear one-shot against Mr. Hub, but now Makula is on its way.
Maybe turning the situation together with Leolas. We have Merlin coming in soon. Ultimate from Leolas falling in. He does get, but he gets under the turret. Gets a lot of damage. TP coming in now from Bekan. And with that, PERTINAX is forced to flee. Nice Q from Ardafla. Wow, I didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, that was just beautiful. And in the end, it's just a total stomp at the moment on almost every single lane. I mean, top lane now at least got hit a little bit. And JJ is really wonderful stopping the hook shot with his own ultimate, and I guess he can even stop the hook shot with the E just to get back to Camille. So usually she cannot escape from him if he wants to. And Lex definitely was a little bit too key. Usually Camille goes for the second Q on the turret and then instantly E out. And then this time he just stopped the E.
Ooh, close call here for Bekan as he rushes out just in time to not get knocked up. Nice dodges coming in from Merlin, dodging the corrupted chain. Bekan just keeps dancing around PERTINAX's bot lane here, just nagging at them here, left and right.
Yeah, Makula is really unlucky. He always sits on a ward.
Yeah. And that ward wasn't even going to be there for that long anymore. Now we have the Rift Herald being placed down on the mid lane. Ardafla having pushed in the wave today with Shredded. Getting some more platings here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's still 2 left. Ooh, that's a bit rough.
Yeah.
Oof.
It was close. I mean, this plating just has maybe 10 HP or something.
1 auto attack from a minion even would have made a difference. That's really sad to see, but oh well.
They still have 1 minute to get it.
Yeah, it's fine. They can do it. And keep the pressure on the mid lane. Ardafla rotating back to bot lane. We have Drake coming in about a minute.
And this Drake could be a play for with SLOTHS. I mean, they're really far ahead, so they probably winning even some team fights.
JJS pulling Lex on the turret. That's not enough to do any big substantial damage, although he is ahead in health now, but Lex still has the upper hand here. He does have a bit more CS on his mythic item already.
Yeah, I mean, after so much action from the last couple of minutes, we now are here with a little bit less action at least.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad. Drake is now spawning, so we might see some action now when both teams try to commit for this Drake.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it is not too bad, because there's usually action when there's something to do on the map. Here we have Berlin almost catching Grizzon, who's really low now, but that's really good for PERTINAX. That's already a small victory you take, because going into that Drake, well, Grizzon is a threat, and less of a threat because of that. But we'll have to see how the Riftsloths go at it. Makala already got it really low. Paranoia coming in, Shredded in the middle of the pit. Makala gets the Drake, but gets really low. In the meantime, Shredded flashes outside of the pit, not going for the risk. Nice kill here from Pecan with Ardafla on Leolas. 1 kill for 1 Drake for PERTINAX.
Yeah, he just finds the snipes. It was his second Q snipe now on a single target, so he definitely knows when and where to get those. And the solo bolo on the top lane.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Casual tower dive from Lex coming in. So while his team does pick up a kill against that Drake, he still gets a kill himself on the top lane. And with that, they are still able to stay in that stride on the side of the Riftsloths. Although PERTINAX, you see, they still got fight left in them. That's for sure.
They don't give up too quickly.
Objective bounties having ticked in. This is the opportunity for them to try and get maybe a turret or the next objective. Of course, had they been there when they got the Drake, if only.
Yeah, you say it. And with that, top lane turret and also the first turret of the game will fall over set.
No. Yeah, because Makala is in the middle of it now, and he's gonna die before Leolas is able to join up with him. That's just another free kill going to Lex, who's now gonna have a good time on the top lane. I mean, he's got his mythic item, he's got his Tiamat, and he's just gonna go all aggressive on JJS. We have Leolas coming in to help, though this might turn the situation around for them to be able to get a kill. Leolas has to be careful because of the damage of Lex is there. Paranoia coming in, here comes Shredded. Yes, they pick up the kill against JJS. Try to go back in to kill Lex, who gets really low. Mr. Hub is gonna get the shutdown on the Camille player.
It's a sign of life at the moment, but not much more. It's still it's 8,000 gold in the lead for the Riftsloths after 16 minutes. It's just so insane. And I mean, yeah, there was a shutdown on top lane, but it was not even the biggest shutdown they could have got, because there's still 500 and 550 gold on Shredded and Ardafla, so will be a tough time for PERTINAX right now. It's definitely a tough time versus this Herald. Now they can crack open probably the mid lane or top lane turret, or just give more gold to Lex maybe. Bot lane turret should be falling soon as well with some roams, or just with Camille pushing it, who knows. And this game should not be losable, in my opinion, for Riftsloths.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a super comfortable position here. 8k gold lead is huge. And the worst part is, for PERTINAX, it's concentrated, as you've said, on Shredded and Ardafla, who do carry those bounties. And they're the clear threats here. I mean, any of these champions could be a threat, actually, but Shredded being able to be anywhere on the map almost with his paranoia makes him so dangerous. And here we come. He goes onto the mid lane. Look at the damage he puts on Mr. Hub. But we have Makala just around the corner. They do get the shutdown. JJS came in just in time to put back the rest of the Riftsloths to their tier 1 turret. With that, they get some nice money in them.
Yeah, he was just a bigger threat than Shredded was, and that's a big shutdown. And Adafla did not really want to challenge JJS there. So in the end, 5 members of PERTINAX won this little 1v5 against Shredded. But no, they might be in danger.
Yeah, they have Khan and Grizzon. Yeah, Mr. Hub gets killed by Grizzon with the ulti, but Makala picks up a second shutdown, this time around on Adafla, but now Lex coming in. They will get the kill on the Javan 4. We have JJS TPing in. With Raptors, the team might be able to get some kills as Makan is forced to fall back. Lex now gets some huge damage on Leolas. But for now, this looks good. PERTINAX is able to retreat. With the shutdown money they got, this definitely was worth, in my opinion.
Yeah, they collected all the shutdowns, which is usually a good sign, but still, they are 7k gold behind, so
yeah,
it's not that it's no easily winning for them, but at least they tried and got something out of the situation, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, definitely. And stopping Riftsloves in their tracks a bit. I mean, taking the shutdowns on both carries, right? I mean, in from one moment to another. I mean, they got the pick on Shredded. Before Shredded was able to get back in the gist of it, they got the kill on Adafla. And I think that's just well played from PERTINAX to use those timers so well.
That's indeed was well played, yeah. Drake is up, so both teams could decide to go for the Drake if they want to. And we already see Shredded is on the way. Baron also spawned. And I believe that they can just play around the Baron. They have so much gold, they have such a big lead. And they can just place their Camille on the bot lane. And then just try to force the Baron, and after they force it, they can just try to engage on whoever is face checking them and stuff, so they don't need to go through the whole Baron, just bait it. But I think they are just too ahead to not do it.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can. Look, Risen alone is already such a threat for them. If you get someone hooked, the damage is already going to be insane. They can just indeed put so much pressure already on PERTINAX. But PERTINAX saw it coming, right? They reacted well, they already rotated towards it, started warding slowly but surely, are making sure that Riftsloves are not doing a sneaky one, because currently vision is cleared. Herald being summoned on the top lane, that's going to be a distraction coming in from the Riftsloves. And you have to decide as PERTINAX now what to do. We have the wave coming in at the turret. Yeah, do we stop them? Lex is also rotating towards the mid lane now, together with Khan.
And that's not the best Baron in the Herald in the world. They just get one charge out of it, not a full turret or something. And I believe that Lex actually can maybe even try to kill Merlin. I mean, he's fat. Merlin has also 2 items, so it's still dangerous, but with the with the ultimate, usually Merlin cannot escape, and then just Shogurt ult him, and you are fine, I guess. So it's at least not a bad matchup on the sideline.
Yeah, and the turret was really low as well on the mid lane here, so could have gone for it, but goes for the safe play, rotates back to the bot lane. He has TP up, so can always join the rest of his team, which are starting Baron now. Isn't showing his face. Here comes the paranoia with the hook. Are they gonna go for the engage? Are they gonna find purchase? Yes, they do. Onto JJS. Careful, he is. They just nice. Death from below from Grizzon, and Makala is following him up. But JJS onto Adafla, and Bukan is gonna give them a rough time. An AD carry gets a set, flashes out, but nice flash from JJS to try to still hit the W, but the damage is here from Shredded as he joins in, and now it's a full-blown fight for Erlin with the TP from the side. Picks up the kill on Adafla, but he has to be careful because the rest of his team is taking a huge hit. Bukan gets the kill together with Lex onto Makala. Merlin, last man standing for PERTINAX here versus 4 of Riftsloves. Is not going to be able to do too much, decides to go to the middle lane. TP coming in, he will have to fall back here. The rest of the Riftsloves are doing this Baron.
Yeah, it's just 4v1 at the moment. Now, at least Leolas is there as well, but probably they cannot stop this Baron, and with that should be smooth sailing from there. because they're 9k ahead. With the Baron it's 10k, and then they can just go for the turrets. They can just siege, and they should be unstoppable, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is now 11k gold lead almost already. They've already had the upper hand in terms of pressure overall. Lex is even more unstoppable now. He's got a few more kills from this situation.
Yeah, he is really, really strong. I mean, no, soon he has his not demolish. He has the hull breaker, so with that he can just shred through those turrets. He's 50 CS ahead, and I mean, one thing I definitely want to mention is that Merlin has the perfect farm, even a little bit more. He is the only person in the Rift at the moment who can definitely farm the 10 CS per minute. All the other members dropped a little bit.
Okay, Makala engaging in Rift SLOTHS. He does have Ardafla in the Cataclysm, and they do pick up the kill with that. In the meantime, Lex, however, is going to crack open base at the top lane, and Rift SLOTHS decide to engage a bit. Nice! Gets a kill here for Grizzon, but he does get shut down. But I think that doesn't matter to them. Their only goal was for Lex to get that inhib turret, and I think he should be able to get the inhib as well. It's a bit risky, PERTINAX are closing in on to him. Merlin with Leolas, the 2v1. That's a bit dangerous for Lex. He goes in. Lots of damage falling onto Merlin. But Mr. Herb is there now as well to support them. And Lex is forced to try and flee, but he's not going to get away as they pick up the kill. But in the meantime, Shredded is in the middle lane, taking that inhib turret. And the whole time that happened, Bikan was pushing on the bot lane.
Yep, they just got 3 turrets for just, I think, 2 kills or something, so in the end it's perfectly worth it, and now they can even go for this Drake. Could be a little bit risky without Lex, and you already see that PERTINAX is at least on his way, but if they are fast enough with the Drake, then they might secure the Soul Point Drake. And Makala does want to get into the pit but can't, just a shutdown on him, and with that it's the 3rd Drake for ESLOL.
Yeah, and PERTINAX down a member as well. I don't know how long that Baron is still gonna last, but they might still be able to take advantage of some of it. Because they are in a 5v4 situation when the rest, Lex and Bikan, join up. Things are looking really rough now. Rift SLOTHS are on to the last leg of this game, I believe, here.
Yeah. The Ram is oh man, in Germany there's a word called humpeln. I don't know what the English word for that is, but this Ram is kind of walking slow and injured, you could say.
Yeah, now I have the word on the tip of my tongue, but yeah. There is a word, but I don't remember it either, but I get what you mean, yeah, most definitely. It's having a rough time. It might have slipped up on some piece of ice in the mountains before it got to the jungle, so... Yeah, rough time for him. Yeah, they keep the pressure going here, the Rift SLOTHS. You have Lex on the top lane, and now agglomerating on the bot lane to get that turret open, so the whole base is cracked open, all the inhibs are open. Bikan just pushes. Well, the rest of PERTINAX is forced to kind of stop other people, but now Lex is free, and Merlin's going for the 1v1. Yes, coming in, JJS on the bot lane. Paranoia has dropped Makala onto Ardafla with the Cataclysm, gets a lot of damage on the AD carry. They are able to kill him. Lex takes the inhib, however.
Yeah, and maybe even a full Nexus turret.
Yeah, he keeps the push going. The rest of the Rift SLOTHS are also pushing in onto the enemies to keep them busy. And indeed, he does get a whole Nexus turret, while Grizzon just hooked people and did some damage.
At the moment, Rift is just losing team fights, but just wins the map anyway with split push. I mean, why not? Just play for your win condition, and your win condition is split push at the moment, so just do it. But you already see why this Jarvan pick is so strong, and why this Varus pick, in my opinion, is just not the right decision, because he's just too unmobile, gets locked every single time with Makala in a cage. That's the reason why I wanted to call the Kaiser, because Kaiser can at least jump out of the Cataclysm. But Varus is just really free to kill. And yeah, that's something we can see in every single fight. Mukano, even with the Magi's, just 8 stacks, but he will work on it. And now Camille is on the bot lane. And probably is working on the next Nexus turret.
Oops, small catch here onto Merlin. And yeah, with that, PERTINAX once again down a member. The Riftsloths are going to be able to make a huge stand here, if not finish the game. Because Merlin was one of the big threats, along with Makala, who's able to go all in onto Ardafla, as you've said it. Worked really well up to now.
Yeah, and Merlin just died for the first time in the series. I mean, just look at all of his teammates. They all died plenty, and he just died one time, so that was his first death, and Wukan still is yet to die. And now they play for Baron and for Split Push, which is really effective.
Yeah, and PERTINAX is not even none the wiser. Look at the vision in that jungle from the Riftsloths. It's absolute vision domination.
That's true, and now with the Baron buff, they can just push top lane. I would push top lane and just let Camille do her thing. They could even try to go for Soul at the moment, or just try to push bot lane, which is probably better because of Drake. Drake is spawning, so you want your Camille top lane. Then you can play for Soul, and if the enemy team tries to contest it, Camille can finish via the Nexus turret, so that's definitely a good decision at the moment by PERTINAX, by Riftsloths.
Yeah, slowly but surely finish the game. They are currently at a 14k gold lead, which is huge, and I know a small helping app that would say that they're finishing slowly right now. But, oh well. Rift Lex finds purchase onto Makala, and he should not be able to get away from this. Ooh, no, he does, because the rest of his team is just around the corner. He survives, barely. And that's good for PERTINAX, because he is always very important to get Ardafla out of the equation. And they might be getting Lex even here, because Mr. Hub right now does quite a bit of damage together with Merlin. A lot of damage falling on the Camille player. They do get the kill, but in the meantime, in the base of PERTINAX, things are going down. As Shredded went all in onto JJS, who's now down. They pick up the second inhibitor on the bot lane. Now the mid lane inhibitor, and the second Nexus turret should be falling very soon as well. Last stand comes up for PERTINAX, but Ardafla flashes outside of the Cataclysm. With that, Makala's use here is over, and the push keeps on pushing. The minions are attacking the Nexus. We have the first kill falling again for the Riftsloths. Makala now really low is going to fall as well, and so does Merlin. That's the ace for the Riftsloths as they redeem themselves by taking the first win of tonight.
Yeah, well played by Riftsloths. I think they could have finished it a little bit earlier. I mean, they took over 31 minutes to finish such a game, where they're just dominating through the whole fall game, basically. So they took a lot of time, but it's still a lead, it's still a win, it's still a lead in the series, so everything is fine for the Riftsloths. Maybe they can come back now, and maybe they can just win 3-0 like everybody would expect from them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to keep going on that streak like they had this game, because yes, they took their time, but they played this really well. There's nothing to be said against it. They just did well. They were in full control of the whole game, pretty much. And if they're able to keep riding that wave, most importantly, they did it with a comp that is a bit more unusual. So if they're able to keep riding that wave, they're in for a quick 3-0. But yeah, nothing is said. PERTINAX had their strong moments. Maybe they just need to warm up now that Ardafla is back, get back into the groove of things, and we'll see how they adapt for game 2 as we're headed into a short break in order to get the lobby set up, the players in it, and so on and so forth, and fill up back on water. We'll see you guys very soon.